I found her in the wreckage on Tanis 4, half buried under twisted metal that used to be a Kethran warship. The battle had ended 3 days before. The cleanup crews hadn't reached this sector yet. I wasn't supposed to be there either, but I'd learned a long time ago that the edges of battlefields held things worth finding. Ration packs, functioning medkits, sometimes weapons that still worked, sometimes bodies that deserved better than mass graves. She wasn't dead. That was the first surprise. The second was that she was beautiful, even covered in ash and blood that wasn't entirely hers. Kethran physiology. 4 arms, crystalline bone structure visible beneath translucent skin, eyes that shifted between violet and deep blue depending on the light. I'd killed enough of them to recognize the species. I'd seen enough of their corpses to know what they looked like when the war was done with them. This one was breathing. I should have put a round in her skull and moved on. That's what the manual said. That's what 3 years of fighting the Kethran ascendancy had taught every human soldier still alive. No prisoners, no mercy. They certainly didn't show us any. The colony on New Perth had learned that lesson when the Kethran glassed the entire planet to deny us the lithium mines. 2 million civilians, gone in an afternoon. But I was tired. Tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix. Tired in a way that made me wonder if maybe the manual was wrong about a lot of things. I pulled her out of the debris. She was lighter than she should have been, and when her eyes opened, they were empty. Not vacant, like shock. Empty like a fresh drive, like someone had taken everything that made her a person and scraped it clean. "Do you understand me?" I asked in standard Kethran. Every human soldier learned the language. Know your enemy. Understand their threats. Die slower. She blinked. Her mouth moved, shaping sounds that meant nothing. Her 4 hands reached up, trembling, touching her own face like she was confirming it existed. "Memory wipe," I said, more to myself than to her. Complete neural reset. I'd seen it before. The Kethran did it to deserters, to cowards, to prisoners they wanted to reprogram. They'd hollow you out and fill you back up with whatever they needed you to be. The technology was beyond anything humanity had. Most things about the Kethran were. The smart move was still to kill her. The kind move, maybe. She wouldn't know it was coming. She wouldn't remember anything worth mourning. I didn't kill her. Instead, I carried her back to my camp, the abandoned mining station 20 clicks from the front lines. Nobody came out here. The war had moved on, chasing the Kethran fleet toward the outer colonies, leaving places like Tanis 4 to rot. That suited me fine. I'd stopped chasing the war 6 months ago, after the disaster at Meridian Station, after I'd made the call that saved 300 Marines and killed 2,000 civilians who'd been used as human shields. Command had called it a tactical necessity. They'd given me a commendation. They'd promoted me. I'd stopped sleeping. The mining station had power, water recyclers, and enough space to avoid feeling like a coffin. I set her down on one of the bunks in the crew quarters. She watched me with those color-shifting eyes, expression flat, waiting. Not afraid. Not anything. "You hungry?" I asked. No response. I brought her a ration bar anyway, opened it, showed her how to eat. She mimicked me, chewing slowly, mechanically. When she swallowed, she touched her throat like the sensation surprised her. "Yeah," I said. "Bodies do that. They keep going even when your head's empty." I should have felt something. Pity, disgust, anger at what her people had done to her, to mine, to the galaxy we'd both bled across. I felt nothing. Just that same bone-deep exhaustion that had been eating me since Meridian. Maybe that's why I kept her. Because she was as hollowed out as I was, and there was something honest about that. 3 days passed. I taught her to eat, drink, use the sanitation unit. She learned fast, like the hardware was intact, but the software had been deleted. Her hands were steady. Her movements became coordinated, purposeful. By the fourth day she could speak, broken standard, copied from my words, pronunciation awkward, but improving. "Why?" she asked on the fifth day. First real question, first sign of something beyond mimicry. "Why what? Why you? Keep me?" I was cleaning my rifle. Routine maintenance. Something to do with my hands while my brain tried not to think. "Don't know," I said. "Maybe I'm an idiot." "Idiot?" she repeated, testing the word. "You are? Soldier?" "Used to be. Used to be," she echoed. Then, quieter, "I am..." "What?" That question, the one I'd been avoiding. I looked at her, really looked at her. She sat cross-legged on the bunk, forearms folded in a way that seemed unconscious, natural. She wore scavenged clothes I'd found. Too big, wrong shape. But they covered her, made her seem less like the enemy, less like the things I'd spent 3 years killing. "You're Catherine," I said. "Your people and mine are at war. You were on a warship. Something happened to your memory. That's all I know." "War," she said. The word seemed to weigh something in her mind. "I feel... nothing. Should I feel?" "I don't know what you should feel. And what do you feel?" Loaded question. I set down the rifle. Tired. She tilted her head, studying me with an intensity that was new. Growing cognitive function. The wipe hadn't been permanent. Couldn't be, or she'd have died. The Catherine brain was designed to rebuild, to adapt. They were faster than us, smarter than us, better than us in most ways that mattered in war. We just refused to die. That was our advantage. Stubbornness, spite. "Tired," she repeated. "I understand. I think. Yeah? I am empty. You are full of weight. Both are. Same?" I laughed. Dry, bitter sound. "That's one way to put it." She smiled. Small expression. Tentative, like she was testing if her face remembered how. "I have name?" "Not one I know." "You have name?" Marcus Chen." "Marcus Chen," she said slowly. "I am." "You tell me." She looked at her hands, all 4 of them, turning them over, examining them like they belonged to someone else. "I am no one," she said finally. "Not yet." That night I woke to her screaming. Not words, just raw sound, terror without context, her body thrashing in the bunk. I grabbed her shoulders. Stupid move. Combat instinct, and she nearly broke my arm. Catherine's strength. She could have killed me if she'd meant to. But her eyes were wide, lost, and the moment she recognized me, she went still. "Dream!" she gasped. "I saw. Fire. Faces. I could not see their faces. They were burning. Just a dream." "No." She gripped my wrist with 2 of her hands, tight, desperate. "Memory. I remember. I remember I did something terrible. I do not remember what, but I know I am not good." I should have comforted her. Should have lied. Instead, I told the truth. "Yeah, probably. We all are." She didn't let go. "You also?" "Me especially." "What did you do?" "Meridian Station, the civilian compound. The Catherine battalion dug in behind 2,000 human shields. The artillery strike I'd called in because it was the only way to break the siege before the main colony fell. The way the civilians had looked at me through the targeting scope, knowing what was coming. The children. "Something necessary," I said. "Something I'll never forgive myself for." "Forgive," she whispered. "I do not know this word." "Good. Don't learn it." But she didn't let go, and I didn't pull away. And somewhere in that moment, something shifted. 2 hollow people, sitting in the dark, holding on to each other because there was nothing else to hold. The days blurred together. I taught her more words. She remembered more fragments. Nothing coherent, just images, feelings, flashes of a life she couldn't contextualize. She remembered music. She remembered the taste of something sweet. She remembered fear. She started helping around the station, fixing things. The Kethran had an engineer's instinct. Their civilization was built on it. She could look at a broken water recycler and understand it in ways I never would. Within a week, she'd repaired systems I'd thought were permanently dead. "You are good at surviving," she said one day, watching me inventory supplies. "Had a lot of practice. You do not. Live. You survive. Different." What's the difference? Living is. Choosing. Surviving is. Continuing. When do you become a philosopher? I do not know. Maybe I always was. Maybe I am becoming. She was becoming something. That much was obvious. Her standard improved daily. Her movements grew more confident. Her personality, whatever it was, started to show through. She was curious, relentless in her questions. She was gentle with broken things. She laughed sometimes at things I didn't find funny, and the sound was startling in the empty station. And she stayed close to me, always within sight, like I was the only real thing in a world made of fog. I told myself it was dependency, Stockholm Syndrome, imprinting, whatever psychological term made it less dangerous. I was lying to myself. 2 weeks after I found her, she kissed me. We'd been outside, watching the sun set over Tanis Fo's industrial wasteland. The planet was ugly, strip-mined, polluted, strategically worthless now that the battle was over. But the sunsets were spectacular, all those particulates in the atmosphere turning the sky into layers of orange and red and purple. She'd been quiet, which was unusual. Then she'd turned to me and said, "I think I am remembering how to feel." "Yeah?" "I feel grateful, confused, safe, afraid." That's a lot of feelings. "Yes, and also..." She'd paused, 4 hands fidgeting with the hem of her shirt. "Also something I do not have words for, something warm, something that hurts." I should have seen it coming, should have stopped it. Instead I'd asked, "Hurts how?" Like wanting something impossible. And then she'd kissed me. Kethran mouths were different, softer, more flexible, but the intent was unmistakable. The desperation was human, universal. I'd kissed her back, for maybe 10 seconds. I let myself have that. Let myself feel something other than exhaustion and guilt. Let myself imagine that maybe 2 broken people could make something whole. Then I pulled away. We can't. Why? You know why. Because I am Kethran. Because we are war. Because I don't know who you are. You don't know who you are, and when I remember, maybe I will hate you, she said. Maybe I will hate myself. Maybe everything will be terrible. But now, in this moment, I know one thing. I know I do not want to be alone. I know you do not want to be alone. Is that not enough? No. Liar. She was right. I was lying. And the truth was so much worse than the lie. Because I was falling for her, for this impossible creature who'd crawled out of the wreckage of a war neither of us could escape. For someone whose real name I didn't know, whose past I couldn't guess, whose future was probably going to end with a bullet, mine or someone else's. I need time, I said. Time for what? To think, to figure out what the hell we're doing. We are surviving, she said softly. Or maybe we are beginning to live. You decide which. That night, I lay in my bunk and stared at the ceiling and tried to convince myself that keeping her was still the right choice. That I wasn't just being selfish. That I wasn't setting both of us up for something catastrophic. I failed. In the morning, she was gone. Panic hit first. Then training. I checked the station systematically. Every room, every corridor, every maintenance shaft. Her clothes were still there. The tools she'd been using on the environmental systems were laid out neatly, mid-repair. No signs of struggle. No signs of anything except a person who'd walked out and didn't plan to come back. I found her 3 hours later, sitting on the edge of the mining pit, half a click from the station. She wasn't hiding. She was just sitting, staring down into the dark hole where machines had once carved out minerals humanity needed to build ships, weapons, worlds. "You planning to jump?" I asked. She didn't turn around. "Would it matter if I was?" "To me, yeah." "Why?" "Because I'd have to carry you back, and you're heavier than you look." That got a small sound, not quite a laugh. I was not going to jump. I was thinking. About what I am, what I might be. She turned then, and her eyes were different, clearer, harder. I remembered something. This morning. Not everything, but pieces. I sat down next to her, boots dangling over the edge of the pit. "Tell me." "My name. I think my name is Thessaly Krenvar. I think I was important, skilled. I remember training, combat training, infiltration protocols, languages, tactics." Her 4 hands clenched. I remember being proud of what I could do, what I was created for. Created. Specific word choice, not born. Created. Created how? The Kethrin do not. Reproduce like humans. We are designed. Genetic lines optimized for purpose. I was infiltration caste, elite tier. I spoke 17 languages. I could mimic behavioral patterns of 37 species. I could kill in 46 documented ways. The words hung in the air between us like smoke. "Okay," I said. "That is all? Okay? What else do you want me to say?" I was designed to infiltrate, to kill, to destroy from within. And you... Her voice cracked. "You are human. You are enemy. What if I was sent to kill you specifically? What if that is why I was on that ship? Were you? I do not know. I do not remember the mission. I do not remember why I was there. I only remember what I am capable of. And Marcus..." She looked at me and there was genuine fear in her expression. "What if I hurt you? What if my programming returns and I cannot stop it?" I should have been afraid. Should have put distance between us, locked her up, called for extraction. Instead I asked, "Do you want to hurt me?" "No. God, no. The opposite. I want..." She stopped, struggling with the words. "I want to keep you safe. I want to understand why you saved me. I want to deserve it. But what if wanting is not enough? What if I am a weapon that cannot choose not to fire? Then we deal with it. How can you be so calm?" "Because I've already made my choice," I said. "And because being afraid of what you might do is pretty human of you. Weapons don't worry about morality. People do. I am not people. I am Kethrin. Thessaly." First time I'd used her name. It felt right. You're a person who's scared of hurting someone she cares about. That's about as human as it gets. Trust me. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, "You care about me also? I'm an idiot, remember?" "Yes, you are." She leaned against me, carefully, like she was testing if I'd pull away. I didn't. "Marcus, I need to know the truth. About who I was. What I did. Even if it destroys this. Whatever this is between us." "How do we find that out?" "The ship. The wreckage. There will be data cores. Mission logs. If I can access them." "You really want to know?" "I need to know. I cannot move forward while my past is shadow." She was right. And I was terrified she was right. We went back to the crash site the next day. The wreckage was worse than I remembered. Or maybe I'd just been too focused on finding salvage to notice how thoroughly the Kethrin vessel had been destroyed. It was a Seeker-class ship. Small, fast, built for exactly what Thessaly described. Infiltration, assassination, surgical strikes. She moved through the debris like she'd been there before. Muscle memory, maybe, or something deeper. She found the data core in what used to be the command module, a crystalline structure about the size of my fist, still pulsing with faint bioluminescence. "I need power," she said, "and interface equipment. I can rig something at the station. No, if this contains what I think it does. If there are active security protocols." She looked at me. "It could transmit our location to Kethran forces, or trigger a dead man protocol. Explosive. Viral. I do not know. So we're gambling. Yes. Your call." She held the data core in two hands, staring at it like it might sprout teeth. "I am afraid." "I know, but I need to know. Then we'll know together." We brought the core back to the station. I rigged a power coupling using spare parts and a lot of improvisation. Thessaly configured the interface, her hands moving with absolute certainty, like this part of her training had survived the wipe intact. When she activated it, the core projected a holographic display. Kethran glyphs cascaded across my vision, too fast to follow. Thessaly absorbed it all, her eyes tracking the data streams, her expression shifting from concentration to horror to something I couldn't name. "What is it?" I asked. She didn't answer, just kept reading. Minutes passed. The silence grew heavier. Finally, she spoke. "I was sent to kill you." The words didn't hurt as much as they should have. "Me specifically?" "Yes, the mission." The mission was assassination. Target: Captain Marcus Chen, Terran Colonial Marines, veteran of Meridian Station. Method: infiltration and termination. I was programmed with your psychological profile, your habits, your trauma, everything that would make you vulnerable. Programmed. Yes. They used what happened at Meridian. They knew you would be alone, isolated, guilt-ridden. They knew if I appeared helpless, if I needed you. Her voice broke. They designed me to become exactly what you needed, and then kill you when you trusted me completely. The pieces fell into place. The convenient timing, the perfect amnesia, the way she'd adapted so quickly, learned so perfectly. Not because she was recovering, because the weapon was calibrating itself. "So what went wrong?" I asked. Calm. Too calm. "The memory wipe. It was not supposed to happen. According to the logs, there was a malfunction during insertion, emergency transport failure. My personality matrix corrupted. The ship crashed trying to recover me, and I woke up empty. The weapon without its targeting system, but it's coming back. Pieces, yes, not the programming, not yet, but who knows how long." She looked at me, and there were tears on her face. Kethran tears, crystalline, refracting light. "Marcus, I was built to destroy you. Every moment we have shared, every word, every touch, it was all designed to happen. Not like this, not with me choosing, but the foundation. The foundation is manipulation. I am manipulation given form. I should have felt betrayed, used, angry. Instead, I felt something like relief, because now I understood why it had all felt too perfect, too impossible, because it was. "Okay," I said. "Okay? That is all you can say? I am telling you I am weapon pointed at your head." "Are you?" "What?" "Pointing at my head. Right now, in this moment." "Are you?" No. No, I do not want to hurt you. But the programming hasn't activated because you're choosing not to let it. You do not understand. When it returns, I may not have choice. Then we make sure it doesn't return, I said. We figure out how to kill the programming. Permanently. She stared at me like I'd suggested we walk into a sun. That is impossible. The neural architecture is hard-coded, genetic level. I would need complete reprogramming. And the only facilities capable of that are Catherine-controlled. Yeah, I figured. I stood up, started pacing. Problem-solving mode, combat mode. So we find another way. Humans are pretty good at impossible solutions. This is not battle. This is neurology, biology. I am literally designed to kill you. You cannot simply decide that does not matter. Why not? Because it is insane. Thessaly. I stopped in front of her. The last 2 years of my life have been insane. I've fought a war against an enemy that's smarter, faster, and better equipped than us in every way. I've watched good people die for bad reasons. I've made decisions that haunt me every goddamn night. And then I found you in the wreckage, and for the first time in months, I felt something other than exhaustion. That was the design. The programming. Fuck the programming. You think I can't tell the difference between manipulation and real connection? You think 3 years of war haven't taught me what lying looks like? Then what do you think this is? I think you're a person who woke up in a nightmare and chose to be kind anyway. I think you could have killed me a dozen times if you wanted to. I think your programming failed because somewhere in all that genetic engineering and tactical conditioning, the Catherine forgot that consciousness doesn't follow orders. I took her hands, all 4 of them. I think you're scared because you're capable of terrible things and you don't want to do them. That's called being moral, Thessaly. That's called being human. I am not human. No. You're better. Because you had to choose it. She pulled me close then, 4 arms wrapping around me, and she was shaking. I do not know how to save us. Neither do I, but we'll figure it out. What if we fail? Then we fail together. She kissed me again, desperate this time, urgent, like she was trying to memorize the moment before it was taken away. I kissed her back, and for a few heartbeats, nothing else mattered. Not the war, not the programming, not the impossibility of everything we were trying to do. When we broke apart, she said, I have idea. Dangerous, probably stupid. My favorite kind. The crash site. There were medical supplies, Catherine neural suppression drugs, used for trauma cases, memory stabilization. If I overdose on them, it might block the programming from reactivating, long enough for us to find permanent solution. Side effects? Pain, disorientation, possible permanent damage to cognitive function. Could leave me unable to access any memories, good or bad. That's not a solution. That's trading one nightmare for another. It buys time. At what cost? Does it matter? If the alternative is killing you, it matters to me. I cupped her face with both hands. I'm not letting you destroy yourself to save me. There has to be another way. Then tell me what it is, Marcus. Tell me how we stop this. I didn't have an answer. Not yet. But I knew someone who might. 3 days later, we were heading toward the ruins of Research Outpost Tango 7, 30 clicks deeper into the wasteland. I'd heard rumors during my combat days, whispered stories about a neuroscientist who'd defected from the Catherine ascendancy, a genetic specialist who'd gotten tired of designing better ways to kill. If the stories were true, if she was still alive, she might be our only shot. If the stories were false, we were walking into empty desert to die slowly. Thessaly walked beside me, 4 hands carrying supplies, her movement steady despite the neural suppression drugs she'd started taking. Low doses, just enough to keep the programming quiet. She was quieter too, slower. The drugs dulled more than just hostile code. They dulled everything. You are thinking loud thoughts, she said. Yeah. Share them? I'm thinking about Meridian Station, about the choice I made. How everyone said it was necessary, but necessary doesn't mean right. You saved the colony. I murdered 2,000 people to save 10,000. Math says it was worth it. My conscience disagrees. Is that why you saved me? Redemption? Maybe. Or maybe I just wanted to make one choice that wasn't calculated in body counts. She stopped walking, swayed slightly. I caught her arm, steadied her. The drugs? I asked. Yes. They make everything. Soft. Distant. Like I am watching myself through fog. She looked at me. But I still know this. I am grateful. Grateful you are selfish enough to save me. Grateful you are stubborn enough to believe we can win. We will win. You cannot know that. No, but I can decide to believe it anyway. She smiled. Faint but real. Very human of you, learning from the best. We reached the outpost at dusk. It was half buried in sand, solar panels shattered, walls scorched by weapons fire. Dead, like everything else on this planet. Except it wasn't. Someone had rigged emergency lights inside. Someone had cleared the sand from the entrance. And when I called out in Catherine, a voice answered, "Who sent you?" "Nobody," I said. "We need help." "Everyone needs help. What makes you special?" Thessaly stepped forward, spoke in flawless high-caste Catherine. "I am infiltration caste. Designation, Thessaly Krenvar. Serial Theta 97. I am programmed for assassination. I am in love with my target. I need you to help me choose love." Silence. Long enough that I thought we'd failed. Then the door opened and a Catherine woman stood there. Older, scarred, missing 2 of her 4 arms. She looked at Thessaly, then at me, then back at Thessaly. "Well," she said, "that is new problem." Her name was Dr. Vena Kaur. She'd been the Catherine Ascendancy's leading expert in behavioral genetics before she'd realized her work was being used to create living weapons. She'd destroyed her own research, burned the labs, fled to the outer territories. The Ascendancy wanted her dead. Humanity didn't trust her enough to offer asylum, so she survived alone, in the ruins, doing what she could to atone. She examined Thessaly for 2 hours. Scans, blood samples, neural mapping. Finally, she sat down across from us, her remaining 2 hands folded on the table. "You are extremely fucked," she said in perfect standard. "We knew that part," I said. "Can you fix it?" "Fix? No." "Mitigate? Perhaps. The programming is genetic, woven into her reward pathways, her survival instincts, her autonomic responses. When it activates fully, and it will activate, she will experience overwhelming compulsion to complete the mission. Resisting will cause pain, neurological damage, eventually psychotic break. How long do we have? With the suppression drugs, weeks, maybe a month. Without them? Days. So we're on a clock. You are always on a clock. The question is whether you accept the cost of stopping it. Thessaly leaned forward. What cost? Vena looked at her with something like pity. I can sever the programming pathways, burn them out, permanently. But the process will destroy adjacent neural structures. You will lose memories, skills, pieces of who you are. How many pieces? I cannot predict. Maybe small fragments, maybe everything after your initial training, maybe everything before this moment. So I would forget Marcus. Possibly. Absolutely not, I said. There has to be another way. There is not, Vena interrupted. I am sorry. But this is the mathematics of neurology. The programming is too deeply integrated. To remove it is to remove parts of her. Thessaly was quiet. When she spoke, her voice was steady. Do it. No, I said. No. We find another option. Marcus. She took my hand. I will not let this kill you. I will not let what I was designed to be destroy what I have chosen to become. If I must lose pieces to keep you safe, that is easy choice. Not for me, it isn't. I know. But it is my choice to make. And she was right. God, she was right, and I hated it. Dr. Vena prepared the procedure. It would take hours, delicate work, no anesthesia. She needed Thessaly conscious, responsive, to monitor neural feedback in real time. Before it started, Thessaly pulled me aside. "If I forget you," she said, "tell me again. Tell me why you saved me. Tell me why I was worth saving. Make me fall in love with you again. You won't forget. But if I do, then I'll tell you every day for the rest of our lives, and it'll be worth it." She kissed me one more time. Then she lay down on the surgical table, and Dr. Vena began the long work of dismantling a weapon. The procedure took 6 hours. 6 hours of watching Thessaly's face contort in pain she couldn't voice, of hearing fragments of memory torn away like pages from a burning book, of holding her hands while Dr. Vena worked with instruments that looked more like torture devices than medical tools. Thessaly screamed twice. Once, when Vena severed the primary compulsion pathway, a sound that wasn't entirely organic, like machinery breaking under stress. The second time was worse, quieter. A whimper that meant something essential had just been carved away. "What was that?" I demanded. Vena didn't look up from her work. "Language center. She will recover. Mostly." "Mostly? She is not human, Mr. Chen. Redundancy is built into Kethran neurology. She will adapt. She will survive. That is all I can promise." When it was finished, Thessaly lay still on the table, breathing shallow, all 4 hands clenched into fists. Her eyes were open but unfocused. "Thessaly?" I said. No response. "Give her time," Vena said, cleaning her instruments with mechanical precision. "The brain needs to reroute, compensate. It is a painful process." "How long?" "Hours, days, I cannot say." I stayed beside the table, holding Thessaly's hand, waiting. Dr. Vena worked in the background, cataloging data, recording notes, doing whatever scientists do when they've just performed experimental neurosurgery on a living weapon. 3 hours later, Thessaly opened her eyes. Really opened them, focused on my face. "Marcus," she said. Her voice was rough, uncertain, but she knew my name. "Hey, you're back." Where?" She tried to sit up, failed. "What happened?" "The procedure worked. The programming is gone." "Gone," she repeated, testing the word. Then her expression shifted. "I do not. I cannot remember. There are holes, big holes. Marcus, I do not remember the ship, the crash. I do not remember most of the last month. I only remember." She gripped my hand tighter. "I remember you. I remember choosing you. But the rest is fog, shadow. It's okay, we'll work through it." "Is it okay? What if I lost something important? What if I am not the same person who—" "You're still you. The parts that matter are still here." "How do you know?" "Because you're scared of losing yourself, and only people worry about that." She managed a weak smile. "Logic is unfair." "I learned from the best." Dr. Vena approached, ran a scanner over Thessaly's head. "Neural activity is stabilizing. No signs of cascading damage. You were fortunate." "Fortunate," Thessaly said bitterly. "I lost pieces of my life." "You lost the pieces that were trying to kill him," Vena corrected. "I would call that acceptable trade." "Easy for you to say." "No, it is not easy. Nothing about this is easy." The doctor's expression softened. "But you made choice. You chose love over function. That is a very human thing to do. I am proud of you." Thessaly blinked. "You are proud?" "Yes. I spent years creating weapons, making beings who could not choose, seeing one choose differently." Vena looked away. "It gives me hope that my work was not entirely wasted." We stayed at the outpost for 3 more days while Thessaly recovered. She relearned how to walk without stumbling. How to speak without searching for words that had been deleted. How to exist in a body that no longer had mission parameters dictating every decision. On the third night, she found me outside, watching the stars. "Cannot sleep?" she asked. "Never can." She sat beside me. "I have been thinking." "Yeah?" "About what happens next. We cannot stay here. Eventually someone will find us. Catherine or human, both would have reasons to kill us." "I know. So what do we do?" I'd been asking myself the same question. The war was still happening. The galaxy was still burning. And we were two people who'd chosen each other over everything that should have mattered. "We disappear," I said. "Find a colony far from the front lines. Change our names. Start over." "You would do that? Abandon your people?" "I already did, 6 months ago, when I stopped reporting for duty. Because of Meridian Station. Because I was tired of being the person who made those choices. Tired of being the weapon the Terran colonial marines pointed at problems." I looked at her. "You're not the only one who was designed for something you don't want to be. So we run. We survive. There's a difference." She leaned against me. "I think I am beginning to understand that." The next morning, Dr. Vena gave us supplies, coordinates to a neutral trading station, and one final piece of advice. "The universe is not kind to those who choose love over duty," she said, "but it is also not kind to those who do not. At least your way. You will have company in the suffering." "That's bleak," I said. "That is truth. Go. Survive. Prove that weapons can become people. I would like to believe it possible." We left at dawn. Thessaly walked stronger now, her movements regaining their natural grace. The neural pathways were rebuilding, faster than Dr. Vena had predicted. Catherine adaptability, their greatest strength and their greatest curse. 2 days into the journey, everything went wrong. We'd stopped at a supply cache I'd used during my combat days, a hollowed-out transit station that smugglers used for drop-offs. It should have been empty. It wasn't. 3 Catherine soldiers. Scout team. They saw us the moment we entered. Thessaly froze. Her 4 hands went to her sides, searching for weapons she didn't have, responding to training that should have been severed. The lead soldier spoke in high-caste Catherine. "Thessaly Krenvar, you were declared lost in action. Your return will be celebrated." "I am not returning," she said. "You do not have choice. Mission parameters supersede personal." He stopped, looking at me. Recognition flashed across his face. You are the target. Captain Marcus Chen. The mission is still active." "The mission is dead," Thessaly said. "I am no longer infiltration caste. I am defector." "Impossible. Programming cannot be overridden." I had it burned out of me. I chose differently. The soldier's expression shifted from confusion to disgust. "You allowed yourself to be mutilated. For this? For a human?" "Yes." He raised his weapon. "Then you are traitor, and he is enemy. You will both die here." Thessaly moved faster than I'd ever seen her move. She grabbed me, shoved me behind a cargo container, and threw herself at the soldiers. No weapons, just her 4 hands and the combat training that even neurosurgery couldn't completely erase. She was magnificent, brutal, perfect. She took down the first soldier in seconds, snapped his neck with a precision that spoke to years of conditioning. The second one got a shot off. It caught her in the shoulder, and she didn't even slow down. She drove her fist into his throat, crushed his windpipe, left him choking on the floor. The third soldier was smarter. He didn't fight her. He shot at me. The round took me in the chest. Catherine energy weapons. They didn't just punch holes. They burned. I went down hard, breath gone, world spinning. Thessaly's scream wasn't human, wasn't Catherine. It was pure rage. She killed the third soldier with her bare hands, tore him apart. Then she was beside me, 4 hands pressing against the wound, trying to stop bleeding that wouldn't stop. Marcus, Marcus, stay with me, stay. It's okay, I managed, blood in my mouth, lots of blood. No, no, you do not get to die, you do not. She was crying. I chose you. I gave up everything for you. You do not get to leave me alone. Thessaly, no. Listen to me. You are stubborn. You are impossible. You are the only good thing in this terrible galaxy, so you will live. You will survive. Because that is what humans do. Yes? That is your whole species. Too stupid to die. I laughed. Mistake. Hurt like hell. Yeah, that's us. Then do it. Be stupid. Be stubborn. Stay. The world was getting dark around the edges, but I could still see her face, still see the determination there, the love. I'm sorry, I said. Sorry we didn't get more time. We will. We will have decades, centuries if I have to build you new body myself. Just stay. Please, stay with me. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But the darkness was pulling me down and I was so tired, tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix. Tired in a way that made letting go seem almost merciful. But she was crying. And I'd promised myself I wouldn't make her face this universe alone. So I stayed. I don't know how long we were there. Time did strange things when you were bleeding out. But eventually I heard engines. Footsteps. Voices in standard. Human male. Critical condition. Kethren female. Wounded but stable. 3 Kethren hostiles. Deceased. Thessaly was shouting at them in broken standard. Save him. Please. I give anything. Do anything. Just save him. Ma'am, we're going to need you to step back. No, I stay with him. I stay or I kill you. I am very good at killing. Ask dead ones. Someone laughed. She's serious. Yeah, I believe her. Okay, both of you on the transport. Move. I woke up in a Terran colonial medical facility 3 days later. The wound had been bad. Bad enough that they'd used experimental regeneration tech I didn't know we had. Kethren biotech, ironically. Captured technology. Turned against its creators. Thessaly was asleep in the chair beside my bed. All 4 arms wrapped around herself. She'd been there the whole time, the nurses told me, refused to leave, threatened to dismember anyone who tried to make her. When she woke up and saw me conscious, she nearly broke my ribs hugging me. Idiot, she said. Stupid, stubborn idiot. You said to stay. I did not say to almost die first. Didn't have much choice. I know, and I am grateful, and I am furious, and I am... She kissed me, hard, desperate, then pulled back. I was programmed to destroy you. Instead, you destroyed me, made me into something new. Something that feels too much and thinks too slow and cares about impossible things. Sorry? Do not be sorry. Be alive. Be here. Be mine. I can do that. The Terran colonial marines had questions, lots of questions, about Thessaly, about what I'd been doing for the past 6 months, about the dead Kethren soldiers. I told them the truth, most of it, enough that they understood what Thessaly was, what she'd been, and what she'd chosen. They offered her asylum, protective custody, a chance to help humanity against the ascendancy. She refused. I am not weapon, she told the intelligence officer who'd made the pitch. Not anymore, not for anyone. I am person, and persons choose their own path. Even if that path wastes your potential. My potential was assassination. I prefer waste. They let us go. Classified the whole thing. Gave me a medical discharge and told me to disappear. We were liabilities now. Too complicated. Too messy. I didn't care. We found a colony on the edge of human space. Frontier world. New Perth's replacement, ironically. They needed people who could work hard, ask few questions, and survive in hostile conditions. We were very good at that. Thessaly took a new name. Tess Varen. Simple. Human adjacent. Nobody looked twice at a Kethren on the frontier. Too many refugees. Too many defectors, too much chaos to care about species. I went back to being just Marcus. No rank, no history, no ghosts. We built a life, small house, honest work, nights watching the stars. Sometimes Thessaly still has nightmares. Fragments of memories trying to reassert themselves. Programming that doesn't know it's dead. On those nights I hold her, all four hands gripping mine, and remind her who she is. Sometimes I wake up screaming about Meridian Station, about the children, about the math that said murder was necessary. On those nights she holds me and reminds me that I'm more than the worst thing I've ever done. We save each other, every day, in small ways and large ones. That's what love is, I think. Not the grand gestures, not the dramatic sacrifices, just two broken people choosing each other over and over again, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. 3 years later, on a night when the colony's twin moons are full and bright, Thessaly asks me, "Do you regret it? Saving me?" Never. I cost you everything. Your career, your people, your peace. You gave me something better. What? A reason to want tomorrow. She smiles, that same tentative expression from when she first learned how. I was programmed to destroy you. Yeah, how'd that work out? I fell in love with you instead. Humanity? Fuck yeah, I say. Old slogan from the war, ironic now. Fuck yeah, she agrees, testing the phrase. Then she kisses me and the past doesn't matter anymore. We're just two people who refuse to be what we were designed to be. Two people who chose hope over function. Love over programming. And that, I think, is the most human thing either of us has ever done. Out here, on the edge of everything, we're finally home. The end.